special welcome to Brian and Courtney and your families this evening as we celebrate a very special moment on your journey towards your chuppah. And we welcome our LMU students here this evening joining us. I don't know about you all, but I am so happy to be here. I am so grateful for this moment to sit, to sing and pray with each and every one of you, and to just create a bit of embrace, the embrace of Shabbat in this space this evening. I'm realizing that I did not introduce myself. My name is Hannah Bloomberg. I'm the rabbinic intern, and I am honored to lead this evening with Rabbi Zach Shapiro and Cantor Lonnie Freilich. Let us begin our song and our prayer together. We will start tonight on page 11. We will now turn to our candle lighting on page 2, and it is my pleasure a very special moment Cohen on your journey towards your family to lead us in blessing on page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We will now recite the Kiddush on page 5, and I invite the congregation to rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hilanu zikaron le'maaseh bereshit Kihu Yom Tehila Lemikra E Kodesh Zecher Litziat Mitraim Kivanu Vacharta Beotanu Kidashta Mikol Hamim Veshabbat Kodeshecha Ve'ahava Uvratzon Hinkotanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat Amen. L'chaim.
It is my pleasure to invite up Melissa York on behalf of the Sisterhood and Herman Barnathan on behalf of the men's group. Oh, sorry, please be seated.
Hi, Cohen.
Hello.
We are thrilled to be here celebrating this achievement. We know we've worked really hard to get to this point, and tomorrow will be lovely. This present that we present to you is a set of candlesticks and Kiddush cup on behalf of the Temple of Kiddush Sisterhood. We hope that you will use it for years to come whenever you celebrate Shabbat. Mazel tov.
I'll walk around you. And I'm Herman Barnathan from the men's group. It's my honor tonight, and it is an honor, it really is, to present you with this Tanakh. The Tanakh is the Hebrew Bible. Everything you need to know. It's not just Torah. It's everything. It starts with Bereshit, and it goes all the way through Chronicles. Anything you need to know about Judaism is in here. Anything you know about how it applies to you is in here. Read it, treasure it, turn it over and over and over, because there's no other book like it. And what you can't find in here, see the rabbi. He'll help you. Mazel tov to you on behalf of the men's group. And mazel tov to the family.
Thank you so much, Melissa and Herman. We will continue our service this evening with L'chadodi, rejoicing in the Shabbat and welcoming the Sabbath bride. We join together in song on page 20.
Ya la 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 l'chadodi, ya la 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 l'krakla, ya la 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 pnei Shabbat hekaber.
Ya la 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 l'chadodi, ya la 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 l'krakla, ya la 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 pnei Shabbat. Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad Hishmianu el hamyu שמו אחד, לשם הוא תפארת ולי תהילה.
יא לי לי, יא לה 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 לך דודי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבל, יא לה 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 לך דודי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה.
Verse 2. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, בראש מקדם נשוכה. סוף מעשה משווה תחילה, יא לה לה,
יא לה 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 לך דודי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבל, יא לה 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 לך דודי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה.
Verse 5. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה.
יא לי לי, יא לה 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 לך דודי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבל, יא לה 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 לך דודי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה.
We rise and face the entrance to welcome the Sabbath bride, and we're on verse 9. בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה וסהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה,
בואי חלה, יא לי לי, יא לה 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 לך דודי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבל, יא לה 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 לך דודי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה. Please be seated, everyone. The liturgy that we have chosen for this evening focuses on liturgy of love and liturgy of marriage. The Lechando D that we offer tonight, the Lecha Dodi that we offer any Shabbat evening, is about marriage in and of itself. It's about the people of Israel getting married to Shabbat. That's why we rise and we face the entry as the spirit of Shabbat comes and enters our hearts and our souls. So the people of Israel is partner one, Shabbat is partner two, and God is like the rabbi or the cantor officiating at the wedding. So that's what we do as a people. We welcome Shabbat. But on this particular Shabbat, we're celebrating another wedding, or at least the anticipation of a wedding. And so we'd like to invite forward Courtney and Brian to the bima. And we're going to be opening the ark, but we ask all of you to please remain seated. Hold on a second. Here, let me come on your side. You guys face us. There we go. Okay. Brian and Courtney, in less than a month, the three of us, two of you and me, are going to be standing beneath a chuppah as you officially exchange rings and share your wedding vows. What an awesome moment that is for me personally, to have that window of time in your lives, and how extraordinary that you get to celebrate with our Temple Akipa family, with your Temple Akipa family. Brian, you are a product of our resident camp, and in so many ways, your heart and soul are just part of who we are. And the excitement that I'm feeling comes out of the excitement that you have shared coming to this moment. You're marrying an incredible person, Courtney. I don't know how you do it. You do triathlons, and that just blows my mind how you're able to do that and then come here after a triathlon to give blood at our annual blood drives. I mean, come on, that's just unreal how you had that kind of endurance and that kind of charisma. As we stand here now, we want to offer you a blessing of love, a blessing of history, but also a blessing that faces toward the future. It's the same blessing, Cohen, that you're going to get tomorrow as you become a bar mitzvah. It's one that is the course of many life moments, but today it belongs to you. So come a little closer to us. There we go.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chonecha.
May God's light shine upon you and be gracious unto you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'asem lecha shalom.
May God's love always shine through you and grant you and your beautiful family the most precious gift, the gift of shalom, of peace. Everyone, to that we should all say amen. Amen. And mazel tov! Mazel tov. Lots of love. All right, we'll see you guys soon. Okay.
I'd like to invite Cohen back on up. We will continue our service on page 26.
Yit gadol ve'yit kadash shemei rabba.
Amen.
Ba'alma divra chirute, ve'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon u'yomechon, u'chaye dechot Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv, ve'imeru,
Amen.
yehesh meraba mavarach, le'alam ulam me'omaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, ve'yishtabach, ve'yitpar, ve'yitromam, V'yit natseh, v'yit hadar, v'yit ale, v'yit halal, shemei dekudasha brichu, lele min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, v'imeru.
If we turn the page just one more to page 28, we find the words of the Baruch. And if we look over to the side, these little blue letters that show us where we are in our service, the Baruch is the very first of a series of blessings, at the center of which we recite the Shema. Now this evening, we will say a particular prayer before Shema and one after that I'd love to draw your attention to. The words right before the Shema are Ahavat Olam, eternal love, abundant love. And the words we recite after the Shema begin with Ve'ahavta, and you shall love. Now, I don't know about you, but I love that the Shema is bookended by these words that remind us of the power of love. And I think that this envelopment of the Shema in love keys us into the idea that when we Shema, we hear, we listen to one another, our ability to do so is all the much more powerful when it comes from a place of love, a place of care, a place of empathy and compassion. So this evening, as we sing these words for Shema and all of the blessings that accompany it, I hope that we can allow the spirit of love to emanate from us and fill the room. I invite you to rise on page 28 for the words of the Baruch.
Ya la ya la ya la 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 ya la la ya la ya la ya la 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 ya la ya la ya la 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 ya la la ya la ya la 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 la. Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Le'olam Va'ed. Praise be Adonai, to whom our praise is due. Praise be Adonai, to whom our praise is due. Praise be Adonai, to whom our praise is due, now and forever. Yai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai lai.
Please be seated as we turn to page 32 for Ahavat Olam. That's page 32.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו, קומנו נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו לאורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל.
We rise for the words of Shema found on page 34 and 35, as together we recite these 6 powerful words, the watchword of our faith.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem kevod malchuto le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem kevod malchuto le'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. And Cohen, I invite you back up. We will continue with Ve'ahavta found on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך Becha uvkumecha, ukshortam leot al yadecha, vecha yu latodafot beinenecha, uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, laman tizkeru ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai, vitem kedoshim lalachechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher Hodzeti Etchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim Lihiot Lachem Lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
I offer the words at the top of page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the way, the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. We turn to page 40 for the words of Mi Chamocha.
Yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da 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 Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh Torah tehilot osef eleh Malchutecha ra'u vanecha Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe Malchutecha ra'u vanecha Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe Yadadai Yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai dai Yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai dai Yadadai dai 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 Yadadai dai 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 Zezeli anu ve'omeru Adonai imloch leolam leolam va'en Yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai dai Yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai dai Yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai dai Yadadai dai dai dai
We enter another section of our prayer service entitled the Amidah. Before we do, I think it's important that we pause as a Temple Akiba family, because with all the love that we are experiencing with the liturgy of the service, we look to three distinct communities that faced terror. We look to Monterey Park, we look to Half Moon Bay, and we look to Jerusalem, where at Shabbat services tonight, a gunman entered and caused destruction to a community that was praying. The reasons for all of these acts of terror are distinct, but the thread that combines them all pierces our heart in a very similar way. Our world is not complete. And no matter what community we are in, as human beings, we feel it so deeply. And so it would be amiss to enter Shabbat only thinking about love. And I share this before we enter the next prayer because it is a prayer of solidarity. It's a prayer of standing for whether we're standing physically or emotionally. And it says that as descendants of great human beings, we have a commitment, a covenant to rolling up our sleeves and to remember that we are to be a light unto the nations, to usher in goodness and to eradicate hate, and to create a reality where people can truly be together with love in their hearts. So let's just take a deep breath and pause for a moment. As bearers of the torch of goodness, we now rise in body or in soul for the Amidah. And Cohen, I ask you to come forward to be our shepherd of light in chanting for us. We are on page 46.
Adonai sefatartika ufiyahitahilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomil Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Ha'kol, V'zocher Chasdei Avrot V'imahot, U'mevi Gula Livnei B'neihem, L'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah, Rav Lehoshia, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Samech Nochlim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishene Afar, Micha Mocha Baal Guvurot, Umito Mela, Melech Memi, Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Ve'ne'emanata lechachayot ha'kol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye ha'kol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom, yahalelucha sela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh.
Please be seated. Thank you so much, Cohen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'd like to share what I believe to be one of the greatest love songs from Broadway. I'm going to sing the first line. I'm going to see if anyone can offer the second line. Do you love me? Do I what? Right? It's from Fiddler on the Roof. It's a song that talks about the changing realities of who gets married. Once upon a time in Judaism, you married the person that your parents told you to, or the one that the matchmaker would tell you to marry. And the whole concept of love really was a modern concept. And Tevi the milkman in this story was trying to get used to the fact that his daughters were marrying with love rather than for convenience or for business reasons. So I think about it a lot, and it's really a whimsical song, and it's about Tevi and his wife Golda, who after 25 years are trying to figure out what love is really about. So he starts the song, "Do you love me?"
Do I love you?
Right, "Do I love you?" And it basically has to do with 25 years of milking the cow and other kinds of things like that, and that's what creates love. Well, let me ask you this question. This is for 1,000,000 rabbi points. Okay? Cohen, do you remember how much 1,000,000 rabbi points is worth? No, half a penny. Okay. If you were to tell me what defines, what you need to have a Jewish wedding, what are the elements? What do you have to have for a Jewish wedding? A ketubah, a bride and groom. I'm just responding. I'm not answering yes or no. A chuppah, a glass to break, a rabbi, love, two people, breaking the glass. So far, none of you get 1,000,000 points, by the way. A best man, right? So it's really interesting. According to Jewish law, there are 3 things that are necessary. Oh, Herman?
2 witnesses.
That was one of them. Witnesses. You have to have 2 witnesses. You don't have to have a rabbi, not in Jewish law. You have to have 2 witnesses. You have to have a gift of value. Liz? You don't know. So a chuppah is a tradition, but it's not a law. So a gift of value, I think traditionally it was 14 oxen or something like that. Today it could be a ring, that gift of value. Witnesses and consummation. Everything else is commentary. So, what's interesting is when people might share with me what makes a Jewish wedding, they'll talk about the breaking of the glass because that's a Jewish thing. We'll talk about the chuppah, the canopy, because that's a very Jewishy thing. We'll talk about the 7 circles, because that's a Jewishy thing. But all of these are not the central core, which is kind of interesting. And oftentimes I'll meet with a wedding couple and they'll ask me, what side does the groom stand on and what side does the bride stand on if it's a bride and groom wedding? And I kind of look like a deer lost in headlights. Because I tell you, if I open up to page 18 in the Talmud, it will not tell me where the bride stands and where the groom stands. If I look on page 36 of the Talmud, it will not tell me what the processional is supposed to look like. If I look on page 72 these are all arbitrary numbers, by the way, none of these talk about what a wedding can look like. And when I say it's all commentary, I'm not trying to downplay it, because every element that you mentioned steeps us in holiness. But it really comes down to those things. Someone mentioned a rabbi, by the way. I'm going to put myself out of business. Jewishly, you just need the witnesses to officiate. You don't need a rabbi, traditionally. Now, saying that, how do I put this? I know how to change a tire, but I'd much rather have a mechanic do it. That's how I feel about clergy, rabbis or cantors who are officially ordained doing these. You can find one of your best friends who can get a stamp saying that they are a universal life minister, and that's awesome, having someone who's close to you officiate at your wedding, but they're not people who will be there for your marriage. There's a difference there. Your wedding is one thing, but having an officiant, a rabbi or a cantor or a congregation to be there for your marriage is a whole deeper kind of conversation. Anyway, I bring all these up for a whole host of reasons. Marriage, weddings, all of these are imbued with so much love and so much goodness. And we can dream and we can imagine about the different parts that go into what make the ceremony. But as I was sharing, what really makes our marriage a lasting covenant is one, that we don't do it alone, but we do it with our community. So those are the witnesses. Two, that it's not just a one-time gift of value, but it's ongoing gifts of our heart. What do we give on a daily basis to those we love? And three, that ongoing throughout our married life, we give of ourselves through intimacy, through ongoing intimacy, and we keep that alive. So all these three things, that we continually surround ourselves with community, the witnesses, that we are always giving the gifts of our heart, and third, that we value the intimacy at every level, which makes us whole. Everything else, folks, really is commentary. And we can use them to help nourish ourselves, but we can't forget about those other three. So, if you or a child or a grandchild or a parent is planning a wedding, just keep in mind that it's so much more than a wedding. It's a marriage. And that's something that is holy throughout time and throughout space. Now, before I close, whenever we have a service that focuses on love and weddings, I always like to share a melody, a song that I wrote, which is a Jewish wedding song. This is called Zedodi V'Zerei, and it's based on the dialogue that was shared with David and Jonathan in our Tanakh, in our Bible. And I wrote this in anticipation of my marriage to Ron. This was in 2002, at a time that there wasn't all that much liturgy for same-gender couples. So it goes like this. And this liturgy can be used for any couple, not just same-gender. Zedodi V'Zerei, this is my beloved and my friend. Hare anachnu mekurashim echad lasheni, ani ledodi v'dodi li. I close my eyes and I see your sweet face, and I smile because you're the one I love. My beshert, my life partner, your embrace is what I am certain of. Zedodi V'Zerei, this is my beloved and my friend. Hare anachnu mekurashim echad lasheni, ani ledodi v'dodi li. Take my hand and we'll build our tomorrow, and we'll nurture the blessings of our home. Dodi, my beloved, finding you brings meaning to Shalom. Zedodi, Vezerei, this is my beloved and my friend. Hare anachnu mekurashim echad lasheni, ani ledodi v'dodi li. Friends, we take a moment for our own silent prayers. Let's take a deep breath again. There are so many communities that are in pain right now in the aftermath of the terrorism which I shared just before the Amidah. And our hearts truly go out to those families and loved ones of the victims, and to the communities who are just absorbing so much pain. As we offer our prayer for wholeness and healing, we keep them in our hearts. We also look to those in our community who are in pain and could use an extra prayer of healing. On page 253, in the very center of the page, is our Mi Sheberach, our prayer for healing. And this gives us an opportunity to think about those who are so near to us. When we get to the center of the prayer, as my eyes meet yours, if there are people that you know who could use an extra hug, share those names out loud so we can hear them and so we can pray with you for them.
Mi sheberach avoteinu mikor habracha imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
Aline and David Jaffa.
Yisheberach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. And let us say Amen.
It is my honor to call forward once again, representing our board of directors, Herman is a Udenite, Herman Barnathan. Herman is here with a different kippah. He's on our board of directors. While he represents the men's group, he's really here for the entire community. Herman, Shabbat Shalom again.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom, Kanta. And Shabbat Shalom, congregation. It's such a pleasure, especially to welcome the kids from LMU tonight. Thank you so much for being with us. Is there anybody here tonight besides the LMU kids, of course, for the first time? Wonderful. We hope that what you have heard here tonight you will take with you, and maybe in the future you'll come back also. It is my pleasure also to thank the Huber family for doing the Kiddush and the candle lighting. And you're going to be great tomorrow. You really are. You've got it down pat. I watched you. I don't have to listen to you. I watched you. You've got it down pat. The Onik Shabbat tonight is sponsored by the Hoover family and the Brian Bloomberg and Courtney Cheng family. And mazel tov on your coming marriage there, youngsters. Where are you? Listen to what the rabbi said tonight, especially the song that he wrote in honor of his marriage to Ron. You should only be as happy as he and Ron are, and I know that for a fact. I have a couple of announcements to make on behalf of the synagogue. Some of them are off in the future, but maybe you don't know this, of course, but Temple Akiva is celebrating its 70th year. And we're planning on doing it in a big way. So take your calendars out when you're out of here and save the date of May 6th. That's a Saturday, May 6th. That is the 70s Disco Gala. And it's going to be one hell of a night. I promise you that. We also have coming up in March, is it March 15th? The Purim Carnival. March 5th, our annual Purim Carnival, which is held outdoors. And by the way, if anybody here would like to donate, not money, I'm not asking you for money, but donate something for the silent auction, it would be greatly appreciated. Think about that also, okay? We have our challah braid and bake continuing on February 9th at 3:30 in the afternoon. It's been very successful. Not only do they learn how to bake, they also enjoy a challah for Shabbat, which is traditional. I don't know, maybe there are some other things. Oh yes, we have a Tu B'Shvat Seder coming up. What's the date of that, Kanta? Second week in February is the Tu B'Shvat Seder. And if I'm not mistaken, it'll be held in the social hall, am I right? Make sure you come to that. It's a great evening. It's an evening of eating and an evening of learning. Really, you'll find out what Tu B'Shvat is all about. And as the rabbi goes through the service, and as the choir helps with the service, you'll be eating fruits and nuts. And maybe a little wine if you want to bring a bottle of wine with you. Anyway, these are things that you should look forward to as far as Temple Akiva is concerned. On behalf of the board, on behalf of the clergy, and Hannah, I include you as part of the clergy because you are an asset to this synagogue. Thank you very much for being with us. We welcome you. We hope you have a very, very wonderful and pleasant Shabbat. Thank you all.
Herman, thank you so much. I was about to say don't sit down, but you just sat down. We're going to invite the congregation to rise now. We're on page 282, about halfway down the page for the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated, everyone. On page 293, 293 at the very top, I ask that we please read responsively. These core we remember. Remember our people who suffered and died so that we could be free and secure. May their memory be more than a distant shadow.
For their dreams left unfulfilled and lives taken too soon, we remember.
Remember our brothers and sisters whose sacrifice kept the dream of democracy and justice alive. May their courage be our inspiration and strength.
For life cut short and vision unrealized, we remember.
Remember the fallen of our armed services, the victims of terror and tragedy. May the darkness of their loss not obscure the light of peace. They were in love with our land and in love with life.
For the agony, the tears, the mothers and the fathers, for the children who were and for the children yet to be, we remember.
We remember now friends and family of our congregation who have died, who will continue to shine light upon us from their eternal resting spaces. We remember first those for whom we are in Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, including Ethel Finkel and Carol Diamond. Is there anyone else observing Shloshim the first 30 days? We add to their names the yard sites, the anniversaries of the deaths that occur on this Shabbat, beginning with those who have plaques in our Urfrig Memorial Room. Sarah Alper, Harry Feldman, Harriet Fragan, Henry Harris, Emil Abraham Kirsch, Leonard Levine, Rona Moses, Samuel Paperny, Hannah E. Sampson, Avi Tansman, Norma Valensky, Marie Zalkind. We also remember Shirley Barash, Lee Brockett, Anne Brown Devine, Darren Coffey, Ruth Draper, Louis Gordon, Regina Gottlieb, David Gursky, Neil Gutman, Steve Hook, Nathan Jaffa, Eloise Leonard, Mitchell Lerman, Ira Lurvy, Esther Margolis, Samuel Marshall, Sarah Myers, Esther Minchus, Molly Musicant, Linda Pollup, Leonard Settel, Paul Schulman, Fanny Schutbang, Hannah Shine, Les Smith, Molly Tract, Ernest Walter, Bess Weiner, Louis Winters, Kenneth Woolsey, Evelyn Yarfitz, Anna Zebrak, Samuel Zebrak. Are there additional yard sites that those in the community are observing? May their memories guide us all toward light. On page 294, we rise as a congregation for Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shmei Rabbah, v'yomad divrach rotei v'yamlich malchotei, v'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, v'galau v'yizaman kariv imru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam olmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitfa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, Shemei dekudasha brichu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Useh shalom b'mromav, u'yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort the bereaved among us. And together we say, Amen. Please be seated, everyone.
We're going to be closing with another wedding song called Erev Shel Shoshanim, which means an evening of roses. And this is a beautiful interpretation of some of the words that can be found in the book of the Song of Songs. And you can follow along with us on page 350. Erev shel Shoshanim, netzein al habusan, mor v'samim ulevona, leraglech miftan, laila yored le'an, beruach Shoshan noshva. אבל חש לך שיר בלט, זמר של אהבה. שחר הומה יונה, ראשך מלא טללים, כי חיל הבוקר שושנה, בכתפנו לי. לילה יורד לאט, ברוח שושן נושבה, אבל חש לך שיר בלט, זמר של אהבה, זמר של אהבה.
Cohen, we can't wait to celebrate with you and your family tomorrow. Brian and Courtney, we can't wait to celebrate with the two of you next month. LMU students, we're going to, after our service, we welcome you to join the community for some cookies. We call it the Oneg, but then we welcome you to come back in here so we can have a conversation and just to learn about who we are. And that conversation is really open to anyone who's here, but it's specifically geared toward my colleague. Where's my colleague, Rabbi Diamond? Mark, it's so good to have you here with your students. And our relationship, our connection here has been going on at Akiba really since I began 17 years ago. But since my rabbinate began 25 years ago, you've been a close friend and colleague. So thank you for bringing your students to be with us today. Cohen, we invite you and your parents and Eva to come forward to help us break bread. And after we break bread, we're going to ask everyone to please take your prayer books and help with Herman to put them on the shelves on the way out of the sanctuary. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices joining happy chorus as our prayer is humbly said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Join us outside.
Go for it. You did an amazing job. Really.
Thank you so much.
You gotta keep sharing it. It's not for you.